second is around structured data. So if you look at, all the data that sits within core finance and operations, including go-to-market systems today. So you have your CRM system, which has your pipeline. You have perhaps a subscription management system like a Chargebee, Recurly, Chargify, which has, your ARR tables and might also do invoicing. You have your billing systems like Stripe, et cetera, which, essentially manage cash coming in and out of the business. And then you have your accounting ERP solutions. At the end of the day, I think they are de facto glorified databases which store data. However, they are all designed with a different business user and therefore workflow in mind. So what we see with some of the most, call it thought-leading, innovative businesses today when it comes to investing in the finance and operations tech stack is that they actually pull this all together into a data warehouse and make sure that the structured data actually is the same set of data that speaks to each other. And there's a good level of automation behind it as well. And what this does is then it transforms a finance function from a back office reporting function, where they're caught up in the month end and annual reporting, et cetera, to ultimately being a value business partner to help enable go-to-market decisions.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's just so much more data today, and the frequency of change of that data, because, go-to-market motions are much more complex earlier on in a company's life cycle. You just need to get on top of things, and it's not so much a matter of tracking a lot of data, but it's more of a matter of understanding the why and the context behind what you're tracking and how it all connects together.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you mentioned something that really resonates with me here, like the context and the analysis and the why.
Yeah.
So where do you feel like, once you've solved for the automation piece, right? Like now you have time to do the analysis. Where is that happening today? And like, what is the best practice that you're seeing in the market to get to that why?
I mean, at the heart of the why is integrated FP&A, right? So that's really, if you think of a company and as a human being, the heart of everything is basically planning and analysis, which I think for early stage companies is a bit of an abstract concept oftentimes. If you haven't gone through a traditional, annual budgeting, monthly forecasting, quarterly planning cycle. And so inherently there's a kind of almost a cultural change management exercise that you have to go through to make sure it becomes very collaborative across individuals, teams, and the business overall. And it's very much looking at top down, what is the market opportunity? So all the things that investors look for, what's your TAM, SAM, and SOM? Because ultimately then that if you drill down to the operational level, that feeds into your lead score model for your marketing organization. It determines your targeted accounts that sales would go after. There's a whole host of second, third order degree effects. And then also bottoms up, understanding like what is the capacity within the organization, given that there's an existing team in place, you're hiring new people on board. Some people might be offboarding or changing roles within the organization, but it's really about almost, sometimes I'm a bit hesitant to use this terminology, but it's a bit like looking at the widget factory and understanding what parts of the widget are where and what does that produce at the end of the day. And so I think within that, it's a combination of, experience, best practice, but also just seeing what works through experiments and measuring that.
Do you still see all of this sitting within the CFO office, and why?
I do, because ultimately I believe the relationship between the CFO and CEO is probably one of the most vital in any company at any stage, particularly once a business is post-product market fit, because it's really getting to that go-to-market fit and the motions behind it as quickly and effectively as possible. And it's having, the glass, call it the glass half empty and the glass half full balanced perspective between two leaders. And so the function of the CFO is ultimately around business performance. And all the things that touches on every single part of the organization, right? It's as analytical as looking at, people's compensation and who to hire for which profile. And it's as, call it, qualitative as looking at culture and how does that impact our time to hire, our employer brand, all of that. So, however, what I will say is that within each business, it's the ultimate design. It varies from company to company because it's a function of how the business has grown over time, what skills they have, what's the objective going forward. But all of that, ultimately the skeleton of all that gets pulled together within the finance function.